This is New York State testing for grade 8. It is sampler number 1, question number 2, and it's from linear equations and slope. So if we take a look at this graph that they've given us, we have two linear equations. I'm going to mark one of them in red, and I'll mark one of them in blue. If you see down below, there are two equations in each system, so you could do a little mental shift and say they're connected. These each could represent two lines on the graph. So our job is to figure out what the equations are of those two lines so we can match them to the appropriate ones down here. So remember, every equation that is linear follows this form, y equals mx plus b, except for our exceptions of vertical and horizontal lines. And so I'm going to start with the red equation. And what I'll do is I'll mark the y-intercept, that's your b. So this is a good reminder, y-intercept. And I'll mark my y-intercept in black, so my y-intercept is 10. That means the red equation has the form y equals mx plus 10. Well, let's look. It looks like all four of these have the y-intercept of 10, so that didn't help me rule anything out. So I'm going to need to find the slope of that equation. So remember, your slope is your m, and that's your rise over your run. We know that positive slopes start low, imagine the little person here, and they go up. We read from left to right. A negative slope would start with that same person, but it's going to go down, so this would be negative. So I can tell by looking at that red line that it's a negative slope. Imagine that person at the top. We start and we look down. So I'm going to look now, and I also see all four of them are a negative slope. So that did not help me rule anything out. So I will need to find my rise and my run. So I will put the next points wherever it crosses perfectly. And I know my rise would be going down 2 and over 1, down 2 and over 1. It's a line, so it stays the same. So if I have down 2 and over 1, that would mean my rise over my run is 2 over 1. We know it's a negative slope, so it's negative 2 over 1. That means that your possible choices that will work are letter A and letter B. So now I can safely rule out C and D. Now it's my opportunity to do my second equation. That's the one that's in blue. So I will look at this and I say, well, it still follows that same pattern, y equals mx plus b, and I'll mark my y-intercept. Note my y-intercept is 0. So because it's 0, it's not relevant, it's not needed. We wouldn't need to say something plus 0. So notice that neither of these do have a y-intercept listed. Then we can find our slope, our rise over run. So I'm going to do the same thing that I did before, and I'll do my spots, and I'll notice it goes down 1 and over 2. It's negative, just like the other one. It starts up high and goes down low. So down 1 and over 2 would give me a rise of 1/2, and it's negative. So you'd have y equals negative 1/2 x. You don't need the 0. On your own paper, you may write plus 0. But this means that our answer choice, we can rule out letter A, and I'll put my answer choice, I'll just circle it in yellow. My answer choice is choice B.